Sir Modtricca, back up in this thing, man. Today, we'll be breaking down some creepy videos that'll set off your alarm bells. But before we hop into that, go ahead and spam that like button right now so we can run our numbers up on the algorithm. You ain't even got to think about it later. And if you haven't already, man, go ahead and hit that sub button too. Sub up, join the family. We're almost at 300,000 subscribers, and I just want to thank each and every one of you guys for being a part of this journey. With that being said, guys, let's hop straight into the video.
You know, I wasn't even going to post on this, and then I saw some clips that changed my mind, and I'll show you those in a moment. But first, Elon Musk yesterday, along with his son Little X, held a press conference in the Oval Office to discuss what Doge is doing. And there was a hot mic that caught some of it. So first is this little gem.
To restore democracy. This may seem like, well...
You heard that too, right? You're not the president, you need to go away. I'll play the clip a second time. Just you watch and tell me if that's what he said.
To restore democracy. This may seem like...
That's what he said, but I'll go one better, because he also said this.
The prices from one year to the next are the same, and their mortgage.
That one's clear today. He says, I want you to shut your mouth up. And there's already people who are like, out of the mouth of babes. But let me just put this out there for your consideration. A child this young doesn't have this profound moment where he tells off Trump. He just repeats things he's heard. So if he says you're not really the president, chances are someone has said that around him, and he's repeating it. When he says, I want you to shut your mouth up, he's either heard someone say that to someone else, or someone has said that to him, and he's repeating it. Either scenario is pretty disturbing. But perhaps the question we should be asking is the same one that Shay Jordan Smith asked on Twitter, which is, why the is Elon Musk doing press briefings in the White House from the Oval Office? He is not an elected official. Why is he holding court in the Oval Office? Nothing about this is normal or good.
He definitely didn't come up with these statements on his own. He heard this from somewhere before. And I know after this, Elon's Oval Office press conference rights are revoked.
You can't make this stuff up. So Bill Gates wants to build a smart city in Arizona called Belmont. He's spent over $80 million buying 25,000 acres in an area west of Phoenix and west of Buckeye, along with other far-left billionaires, like the guy who owns diapers.com. Coincidentally, now there's been an increased risk of wildfires in the areas surrounding the proposed sites. And you guessed it, now insurance companies are starting to cancel wildfire policies in the areas. Sounds familiar to something else, but I'm not saying anything. I'm just giving you some facts.
This is like deja vu. If you live in this area right now, you might want to invest in some blue paint immediately.
People think this woman's voodoo doll is the reason the Chiefs lost. So there's a viral video of a woman using a voodoo doll on a Patrick Mahomes effigy at the Super Bowl. Now, if you watch the Super Bowl, you probably already know that the Chiefs were not playing at the best of their game. Specifically, Patrick Mahomes, people have pointed out how he seemed abnormally off the entire game. Now, because of how off the team was playing, people think that there was something else going on. That's where this woman with the voodoo doll steps in. If you don't know, voodoo and New Orleans are kind of synonymous with each other, and the Super Bowl happened in New Orleans. So after seeing this video, a lot of people think that there might have been a big background effort to sort of put voodoo magic onto the Chiefs and make them play badly. Now, personally, I don't know if I really buy into this whole idea of voodoo magic being used against the Chief, but I will say the way they were playing did seem very off, and it did kind of seem like they had a little bit of bad luck on their side. During the game, I sort of chalked it up to them being behind and them just losing motivation because of how behind they were getting as the game went on. But now that I've seen this whole voodoo video, I don't know, maybe the Eagles should put this lady on their payroll.
She must have bet her life savings on the Eagles winning, because a football game is never this serious. But I can't believe Taylor Swift got out voodooed.
A Navy fighter jet crashed into the water off Shelter Island in San Diego. The incident briefly captured on video. Both pilots on the plane ejected. They were rescued by a fishing boat, then transferred to a Customs and Border Protection boat before.
Another plane incident. It seems like 2025 is like the year of planes crashing.
They were taken to the hospital. They're reportedly in stable condition. Navy officials say the aircraft was an EA-18G Growler, a two-seater jet that specializes in electronic warfare. The Coast Guard safeguarding the wreckage in the San Diego harbor.
There has to be something deeper going on with these plane crashes, because it used to be a rare event. Now it seems like a daily occurrence.
So Area 51 just got hit by an earthquake, or did it? Well, there's nothing showing up on the USGS of an earthquake happening at Area 51. And you see all these marks here? Take a screenshot of it and come and ask me about it. Y'all know about MK, but do you know that there's several locations too? What about this testing spot? Oh, look at all these holes right here. Oh, ain't that interesting? Just to give you an idea, that's 545 feet each hole. And as you tell, there's a whole lot of them. Oh, yeah, and don't forget about Area 6. That's right there next to it. Oh, and don't forget, to the southeast, you have the Dense Plasma Focus Facility. So let's check out one of the MCAVs. As you see here, this is one that you can drive semi-trucks into. Here's the other one. Again, you can drive semi-trucks into. Look at the size of the trucks here, and they can pull in and out of this. And then you have a hiker that, went missing. He found an M cave that you could walk into.
The earthquake at Area 51 is probably them testing a new device.
Listen. Whoa! Stay inside, baby. What the f is that? Okay, but really, what the f? Please tell me you guys hear this. Wait for it.
It sounds like they're either warming up the Project Bluebeam sound system or somebody in the neighborhood has some giant surround sound speakers and they watching Jurassic Park on full blast.
Dude, look at this shadow right here, man. Look how cool that looks. Dude, I used to never see these right here. Never, never, never. And look at all the other. I've never seen that in person but one other time, dude. Just look how crazy that looks. I mean, it goes all the way. Look at that, man. That's wild, ain't it? Probably the coolest thing I've ever seen, man. And look, there's even another one right there it looks like maybe, but look, what are these things right here? What's that news guy's name again? I can't remember his name. He commented on one of my videos one time about these, just saying it was, it was normal and blah, 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 blah. But I just think it's cool because I've never seen that before, but one other time. And I remember being a kid, and I remember being a kid, man, and I never saw these right here. Like I never ever, it's just crazy stuff, man. It's pretty cool stuff.
Heavy cloud seeding and electromagnetic waves, that's the HAARP 1-2 punch.
Since we're all talking about Chelsea Clinton's wedding, I thought now might be a good time to remind you of this special guest here, right on the aisle at her wedding. That's Ghislaine Maxwell, in case you don't know.
If she got invited to the wedding, then that means she's a close family friend. This picture didn't age well at all.
Take a look at this commercial with Tom Brady. And this is more truth in plain sight. This commercial was aired during the Super Bowl. And if you know what they are trying to tell you.
Who put these in, Tom? Only Duracell has power-boosting ingredients. That's why winners like Tom here only run on Duracell. Tom, are you okay? Why does everyone keep asking me that since the roast? I gotta go, Gronk's down.
So if you can't see, that is truth in plain sight. They are telling you without telling you what is really going on. And one has to wonder if this is even the same guy at all, because he's starting to look a little different these days. Or am I just being a little too paranoid? I don't know.
This is, if you guys don't know, it's He probably won't say it because you get less views or something if you say it, but this is all about people that think that there's clones everywhere in the government, celebrities, they get cloned, they get replaced, and then it's just like robots, or it's just like humanoids, but they're programmed through CRISPR and other ways to program DNA and stuff. So, yeah, so he's basically saying that Tom Brady's a drone, he's been replaced, that's why they're putting batteries in his arm. They're like alluding to that. I would say they're just playing, like they know people say that, so they're just making fun of it now, like they're just using it as advertising, I guess, or maybe it's true because anyways, I won't talk too much, but I haven't looked too much into the clone thing, but I've seen a lot of conspiracies about clones, and it is technically possible. Like they have the technology to clone. They cloned a sheep a way back. Now they never talk about it anymore. It's like you don't think that governments are doing that undercover, or they might have been doing that for the last 30 years, and we just don't know how advanced it is. So anything's possible at this point, but yeah.
But that commercial was really creepy. And again, it is more truth in plain sight. Wake up.
He looks different because he's getting older, but I do believe that they hide the truth in plain sight. So maybe he didn't want to retire after his last Super Bowl, so they had to replace him with a Tesla bot.
Okay, so this is the wildest. That is, I don't know if you can hear it, that is a cop drone. So they're actively looking for somebody. It followed the neighbor up the stairs. Okay, cops everywhere.
Maybe I'm just naturally not that nosy, because the last thing I'm doing if there's a police drone outside my house looking for somebody is walking right up to it so it can confuse me as the suspect.
Months are not a proper unit of time, are they? A month is either 28, 29, 30 or 31 days long. In common parlance, we talk about a month being 4 weeks long, but they're not. Only February is exactly 4 weeks long, and even then, that's only true 3/4 of the time. 94% of months are longer than a month. We know exactly how many seconds in a minute, how many minutes in an hour, hours in a day, and days in a week. We even know exactly how many months in a year. But the months themselves are a mystery. They chop and change. Let me give you an example. Human pregnancy. We've all learned this all our lives. We all know. How many months are we told an average human pregnancy should last? 9. Very good. 9 months. Now, parents, how many weeks were you told on average your pregnancy would last? 40. 40 weeks is 10 bloody months, isn't it? You spend your whole life as a woman thinking if you get pregnant, it'll be 9 months, and then you get there and you discover it's actually 10. You've been conned, haven't you? Let's look at the year. How many months are there in a year? 12. Exactly. How many weeks are there in a year? 52. Good. However, 12 times 4 is 48, and 52 minus 4 is 48. Doesn't take a genius to work out we've got 4 extra weeks. And what do 4 weeks make? A month. There are actually 13 months in a year. This is outrageous. This is absolutely outrageous. And I have a solution. I have reformed the calendar. Let me be clear. It is not just the lack of rigor that I have issue with. I have another issue with months, a linguistic one. These are the months as we know them today. Take a look at the word October. Oct. Think of all the other words you know beginning with oct. Octopus, octagon, octogenarian. Think of all the words you know beginning with dec, decade, decimal, decathlon. You don't have to be the sharpest linguist out there to realise that sept, oct, nov, dec represents 7, 8, 9, 10. And yet we've put them in positions 9, 10, 11, 12. Why has that happened? I'll tell you why that's happened. It's because of the bloody Romans. Before that, we used to have months called quintilis and sextilis. It used to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But then the Romans got all egotistical on us. They wanted to name 2 months after their emperors. They named months after Julius Caesar and Augustus Caesar. Can you imagine the ego involved in naming a month after a human being? It's one thing naming it after a god. You know, you've got January after Janus, that's okay. Mars gives you March, that's okay. I mean, if you believe in a god, why wouldn't you want to venerate them by naming something as fundamental as a period of time after them? That makes sense. But not an actual human being. Get your egos out of the game. That is ridiculous. Well, they have confused things by naming July and August so, and then everything got moved around at a later date.
The ancient Romans had those imperial cults that believed that emperors were gods, so that's probably where that came from. But this proves that the calendar itself is a psyop.
Yeah, if you go back to, I think it's the year 1566 or something, in October, there's a whole like 2 weeks removed. So if you go in your iPhone or most calendars and you go back to, I think it's 1566, it's in the 1500s, like 1533 or 1566. There's literally half the month missing. But that was because apparently they were already running behind and the seasons were already like off. So when they were saying that it was harvest, they were like 10 days off. So they actually did that to fix that. But really, like, we've all known that there's more than, like, yeah, it's true they say there's 4 weeks in a month, but that's not true. If you look at most of the months, there's always the starting of a 1 week and the ending of another week. So it's always like five weeks. But really, we get paid like per day, so it doesn't matter. We get paid per day, most people with normal jobs, or they get paid per year. But the year is still based on the amount of hours you work. So, like, it's not like we're getting screwed out of this. Like, but it's interesting to think about. But it's just, yeah, it's because the Romans changed how we lived our lives and how we counted days and everything, and because they ruled the world for like 1,000 years. So that's what happens when you rule the world for 1,000 years. You control the whole system and you change it and warp it your way. So, but we all use it and it all still makes sense. So, whatever.
How many people feel smarter than GPT-4? Okay, how many of you think you're still going to be smarter than GPT-5?
I was expecting more hands here.
I don't think I'm going to be smarter than GPT-5, and I don't feel sad about it because I think it just means that we'll be able to use it to do incredible things. And, you know, like, we want more science to get done. We want to enable researchers to do things they couldn't do before. This is like the long history of humanity. It does feel a little different this time because of what this can enable. But if scientists can do things because they have like a crazy high IQ tool and they can focus more on figuring out the right questions to ask, address things quicker, do their search space faster, that's just a win for all of us. So we're thrilled to get to enable that.
Yeah, I just want AI to be smart enough to help me craft emails and scan through spreadsheets. It won't be too long until ChatGPT-5 starts winning Nobel Prizes.
Great white. Great white. Great white shark. I'm out of here. Oh, mate, get out of the rudder. Oh, mate, get out of the rudder. There's a huge great white behind me.
Pretty sure paddling is not helping the situation.
Following me. He's still behind me. He's going at my rudder. He's following me. He's still here. He's still behind me. He's just following me. He's still following me. He's got a distance, but he could swim up on me at any moment. Tangaroa, please. Get me home safe, Tangaroa.
That kayak provides zero protection from a great white shark. If this was me, I would start rowing like an Olympian.
John Blitch, his interview was fascinating. What happened to him? He believes that he was potentially abducted even as a child. He would see them outside his window just staring in. And then as an adult, said I would do this bike ride because the pressure of my job was just intense. This one bike ride, there are 5 hours unaccounted for. He said, my wife called the police and it's almost like I just like closed my eyes and opened them. And he's like, it was just a little darker outside. And he said he was the most tired he's ever been. And then he went into a gas station, chugged so much Gatorade, walked out, and the police were like, hey, are you John or whatever? He's like, yeah. He's like, okay, well, you've been missing. Your wife called in. They're concerned about you. Can we give you a ride home?
And he couldn't remember anything besides that.
So, no. But then he talks about there was one night he was visited. He said the only way I could describe it was a giant praying mantis, but it could speak to me telepathically.
Tim Alvarino talked about him.
Yeah, he did. Insectolin. But he talked about this thing was speaking with him telepathically and basically along the lines of like, stop squirming, let us do our test. We can never hurt your soul. Then he woke up, said, I noticed on my arm 3 bruises inside my arm, something had grabbed.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
Some alien abduction stories I actually believe, because when you go public with that, you risk losing your job, everybody calling you crazy, being exiled from society. And if you're just trying to get 15 minutes of fame, there's other ways of doing that besides making up a story where everybody's gonna think you're a lunatic. Me personally, if I ever got abducted by aliens, I don't want to remember any of it, especially the probing.
No one is talking about Jay-Z's watch that he wore at the Super Bowl. This is a $3 million watch by Richard Mille. This is a RM66 Flying Tourbillon, and it is in an orange-red sapphire. Okay, you need to look at the symbolism in this watch. I mean, we're talking about a watch here. There is a skeleton hand with the devil horns, and above it you can see a skull, and you can see that it's red, and it's called the RM66. Also see little stars between the fingers, and when you turn it around, you can see the inside of the hands. But this is absolutely crazy.
You telling me Jay-Z has a watch named RM66 throwing up devil horns with the all-seeing eye? He's never beating the Illuminati allegations.
I'm not trying to alarm you, but tech billionaires are buying luxury apocalypse bunkers. This is not a conspiracy theory. This has been a trend among rich people, specifically among Silicon Valley rich people, for a while. Like Mark Zuckerberg has a $100 million compound in Hawaii, and underneath it is an apocalypse bunker. But I have a really interesting question about this because the practice itself seems sensible to me. If I were a billionaire, I would probably have a bunker because you don't know what's going to happen. And especially among tech billionaires who know that they're currently using AI to try to build an artificial god, which will likely be insane. So here's my question. Once you have your bunker, they of course are going to need muscle. They'll need tough guys to protect the bunker and to keep order inside. So let's just say that a few years from now, Mark Zuckerberg gets the call. His AI team says, hey, good news, we have successfully built a computerized Cthulhu. As suspected, it has gone mad and has declared that it is going to bring about 1,000 years of darkness. So they and their chosen survivors all go down into their luxury bunkers where they will be safe. At that point, what's to stop the muscle from just taking over? Like, they don't do that now because they're getting paid, but once things have collapsed, money won't be a thing anymore. If the biggest henchman says, this is my bunker now, what's the argument against it? That the billionaire has a little piece of paper that says he owns this property? What would that mean down here? What does he say when this guy just grabs that piece of paper and eats it? Do you see what I'm saying? Their billions can build the bunker, but the moment they're forced to use it, they're nobody.
I see where he's coming from, and I agree with a lot of what he said, but I think in this situation, if billionaires did have bodyguards in the bunkers with them, they would at least make them install a Neuralink chip or something, so if they got out of line, one button press, he could power them down.
Yeah, exactly. That or a robot army that you control inside. Like, they're already building humanoid robots. They're going to use the robots to defend them. And then they'll carry the master code or whatever, or it'll be controlled with their minds. So that they're already working on ways of controlling real people or robots with their money. So that's the ultimate thing that they want, right? Because like the guy said, if it's the end of the world, their money means nothing, right? So they're gonna develop systems to defend themselves with their money, which is like also why Elon Musk, I love Elon Musk, but he's also really weird, and it's also like he could be a force for good, but he could also be a force for evil. And having a robot army that he's making, he was saying crazy numbers, like he wants by 2050 he wants there to be like triple, like I forget, it was crazy, it was like he wants 30 trillion, something like that. Like if the world population is going to be at 9 or 10 billion, yeah, he wants 30 billion humanoid robots, and he wants to go into the trillions eventually. Like, I'm quoting that wrong, but it's something crazy numbers by like 2050 or something like that. So yeah, look into it. It's crazy.
And they tell you the truth, like always.
The alien ambassador's already here.
Whoa.
Not her. Him.
Hey, what's up, dude? You're an alien? All famous people are aliens. I'm not. I meant like really famous people.
It's just so obvious. I'll show you more in a second. But really quick, let me ask you this. Why is every Super Bowl, every Olympics, and any other main event always consumed by aliens? And of course, they're showing me mantis aliens. Teen girl abducted by praying mantis aliens. And this right here was the first alien commercial for this Super Bowl. Look at his hand. Why would he do that? It's not rocket science, y'all. They're saying that all the famous people are alien because they're not of this earthly plane, but of this outer dimension. And you know, these white aliens are supposed to be the good aliens out of all the other aliens that help humanity. Kind of like, you know, when those fallen angels came down to help humanity. And white trying to appear pure because, you know, Satan masquerades as an angel of light. Remember, like, Kendrick was surrounded by the people in white the entire time, and they were the only ones left standing. Not everyone that looks human is human, and there's a great delusion coming, and they're straight up telling you. Remember Lil Wayne's I am not.
There's not a great delusion coming. This is the delusion. They're already pushing it for it. So, like, this is the delusion. They're trying to make us believe that there's aliens. They know that there's all these content creators talking about it. They know this is gonna happen. Like, media has changed now. There isn't TV anymore. There's a Super Bowl halftimes. That's it. They have less that they can control, but they know how everyone's gonna talk about it, and that's why they're pushing it so hard. And so this also makes me, like, I want to believe in aliens, but then it's like they're pushing it so hard that it's like it's always been a psyop from the beginning type thing. They always wanted to make the other countries believe that they were in contact with aliens. That's why they were so advanced, which could be true. Anything could be true at this point, but it also could be like them just pushing the narrative just to make other countries believe things that aren't true. And it's like Cold War tactics still going on right now.
Not a human, and the worship of these fallen angels continues.
The mainstream media used to tell us the agenda by slipping in subtle hints and symbolism here and there. Now they just putting it in our faces. Brazilians are built different because there's a massive flood, but still somehow rush hour traffic.
This monk's welfare payment failed due to facial recognition technology, so he was forced to stick on black tape as eyebrows. Okay, even we found it a bit funny. But we've done some digging, and the whole situation is more serious than it seems. Thailand's digital welfare ID uses facial recognition to authenticate people during transactions, like using a person's face as a barcode. This woman, who reportedly travelled a long distance, was actually denied food after the intrusive system failed to recognise her. The UK government recently announced plans to digitise people's driving licences, and we use facial recognition checks to verify people. Make no mistake, a digital ID is very different to a physical ID. At their worst, they can be misused for mass surveillance, to curb people's liberties, and can be abused for the tracking, targeting, or differential treatment of marginalised groups. That's why we're campaigning to enshrine your right to use non-digital ID in law.
I feel like all of this facial recognition and digital ID is just the first step towards rolling out the microchip hand implant. It looked like the neighborhood ghost was about to have himself a new bike until those floodlights came on.
This is an alleged photo of an interdimensional NHI posted by Stephen Greer. The figure behind the man is an alien and is supposedly performing a healing. So far, it looks okay, although it's very dark. But now look at the face of the man being healed. What is that?
I'll actually give Dr. Greer some points for dropping some decent evidence, but is he totally sure that these are aliens? Because it looks slightly demonish.
We'll be conducting investigations into the following: the assassinations of JFK, RFK, and Dr. Martin Luther King, unidentified aerial phenomena, also known as UAPs, unidentified submerged objects, also known as USOs, the Epstein client list, the origins of COVID-19, and the 9/11 files.
I appreciate the transparency, but we got to be very careful how we take in this information as it comes out, because the declassification task force might actually be the distraction task force these days.
Hey, can anyone tell me what this is? There's like a glowing streak in the sky, and it's weird because if you look, the moon's on this side, right up there. I don't know if you can see it. What the hell is this?
It's probably just a rocket launch. I just don't know why it's glowing fluorescent blue like that. Let me know if you guys have any ideas about this one.
Google has changed the name of the Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America, but there is a catch. People using Google Maps in the US will see Gulf of America, and people in Mexico will see Gulf of Mexico. Everyone else in the world will see both names. The change follows an executive order by US President Donald Trump renaming the Gulf to honor American greatness.
The rest of the world must think this is the most stereotypical American move ever. They did exactly what I would do in this situation. Dive head first out the front door.
I'm watching this clip, right? Has above, so below, right? Guys, I made the connection. It's gonna blow your mind that we knew all along what this remind you of. What this is remind you of, y'all. Watch this. Look, I'm not supposed to be holding on to this phone, but my mind cannot stop, and I feel like I should share this. Whenever I watch something, I connect dots. That's me. And whenever you're watching something, when they showing you books in those movies, take the titles. They are telling you something. But this is the big camera, y'all. I'm going to show you guys. This is what they did not want to tell us what that is, y'all. I'm going to show you guys what that is. You guys ready? Just tell me if I'm onto something, man. TikTok, this is not facts. This is not true. All right? All right, guys, check this out. TikTok, this is not true. This is not facts. All right? So you guys, take a second and read this and tell me what you think. They have been lying to us, y'all. It's too obvious now, man.
His theory would kind of make sense. Maybe they were trying to track and photograph the constellations they were aligned to. But let's just say he is correct and the pyramids are a big camera. If the ancient Egyptians saw that everybody has a camera in their pocket now, they would turn in their graves after lifting all those heavy stones just to build a camera.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's... All right, that's good. Okay. All right, okay, all right. Okay, that's good. That's good. It's enough slicing!
Geese have wings. They could easily fly over the road, so I'm convinced they do this on purpose just to hold up traffic. But that was the video, guys. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. Help us expand this movement and reach 300,000 subscribers. I appreciate each and every one of you guys from the bottom of my heart. Until next time, y'all take care of yourselves.
Yeah, I really like that guy. It's called Modtricca. Definitely follow him. Yeah, I've been following him since he had like 10,000 subscribers. Now he's at 300. He's definitely gonna get up there. So he's amazing. But yeah, super cool videos. Let me know if you like it. Subscribe if you can, and I'll see you in the next one.